So today we're going to make a Churro Cheesecake Bar. We're going to be using the KitchenAid Professional 600. Not necessarily something you need to have, it's something I have available, so I love using it. I'm also going to use my whisk detachment here to make sure everything's nice and blended, and I'll be putting that on later. You want to put your ingredients in first to make it a little bit easier. So for the middle of the cheesecake, which is where we're going to start, you're going to have 2 8-ounce packages of room temperature cream cheese. You need your vanilla. You're going to do 1 tablespoon of vanilla. You're going to do a cup of white sugar and 1 egg. And so you'll whisk that all together and that'll be your filling. So we'll get that started. So I'm going to start by just softening up this cream cheese a little bit, and then I'll add the other ingredients. So you can see where it's broken up a little bit, so it'll make it easier to finish whisking the other ingredients in. I have this really cute little spatula, and I like it because it goes in between my whisk. So I just like to knock that off. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to whisk again, it's just to make it a little easier. Add our half a cup of sugar, our 1 egg, and our vanilla. So once that's all together, we're going to start the beater. It takes about a good 5 minutes or so in order to incorporate and become extra creamy. So we're going to let this run, and while this runs, we're going to do the dough. So while our mixture is working and whipping its way into submission here, we're going to make the crust of our bars. So what we're going to use today is going to be the crescent rolls from Pillsbury. All you got to do, and I'm using parchment paper just to make it a little easier for myself. So I had parchment paper, a little bit of flour, and I'm going to just roll this out. And these are a little warm. I left them out of the fridge so it's a little easier to work with, because what you have to do is you have to press these seams together because you want to make one big piece. And they don't have to be perfect because this is going to be the bottom. Really, the top doesn't have to be perfect either because you're going to put cinnamon and sugar on it. But you want it to hold together when you try and pick this up. So we got our first little section here. If you really wanted to, you could probably use a rolling pin to do this. I'd flour it really good though. So I'm going to roll this back back up here so I can readjust it on my paper. Actually, I'm going to go that way with it because my paper is just a little bit longer this way. So that way we can just finish the seam work. Looks like we got one more seam to get. This one just doesn't want to stick for me. Here we go. It being a little warmer, it sticks a little better, which is kind of nice too. That being said, you want to make sure you have flour, otherwise this will stick to your paper. Alright, so we got most of the seams pushed together. Now we're going to set up our pan. We're going to use non-stick spray for the pan, and then we will be putting cinnamon sugar on the bottom. So in my mixture here, I do have my cinnamon and sugar set up. It's a half a cup of sugar to 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. So just gotta stir those together. Nice and incorporated. This is what's going to make it like a churro. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Make sure there's no big lumps there. There we go. Alright, we're going to use a 13x9 baking pan. You can use a disposable pan if you like. It's just what I had on hand. That's just so it doesn't stick. You're going to take your cinnamon sugar mixture. You're going to sprinkle it on the bottom. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, it is the bottom, but you do want to flavor it. Just kind of move it around like that until everything kind of sticks. See where it's all nice and cinnamony. Just like that. If you wanted to do the sides, you can. And I would just gently take your fingers and just kind of roll it up the sides a little bit. Otherwise, it's mostly for the bottom. Because in the middle is going to be your cheesecake. I'm just going to take this here and I'm going to roll it back up to make it easier to spread. It's going to go on the bottom of that pan. And with the flour, it doesn't stick nearly as bad. See, the seams are coming apart a little bit, so you just push them back together. And you just kind of want to work it to the bottom of the pan so it fits the pan. There we go. So that's looking good. What we're going to do is lower that down. We're going to run that a little bit. get all my good stuff off the whisk. As you can see, it's nice and creamy. There's no big chunks. So we're gonna come right over here to our first set of crescent rolls, our bottom crust. And we're just gonna set that on in. You're gonna want to even it out across the whole bottom. Alright. Oops, almost missed a good chunk there. Can't miss out on cheesecake. So I'm just going to use a spoon to kind of help me get this off my utensils here. So you're just going to even it out as much as you can. This is going to go into the oven for about 30 minutes. Once we put the top shell on, it's going to be at 350. Does not have to be perfect, you just want it as even as you can though. So that way it bakes evenly. Alright, now we're going to do the top and then we'll get her in the oven. Alright, so we're going to open our other crescent roll. For the record, I absolutely hate these cans. There we go. They're like little time bombs, so I absolutely hate them. But crescent rolls are delicious. So you want to flip it till you find the seam. And just gently roll her out. Now this one actually looks really good with the seams being pressed. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to do it straight onto the pan. Again, it does not have to be perfect because we're going to cover it. Stretch that over your cheesecake goodness there. And you just want it to fit up. Alright, so like I said, these seams are actually not too bad. You can still push them together like so. But again, we're going to cover it so you won't even see it. Alright, so you're going to take your cinnamon sugar mixture, the rest of it here, and now that you got your top on, you're just going to sprinkle. See how it covers the seams? So you don't even have to worry about it. Try and go ahead as evenly as you can. We will be using our hands here in a little bit just to kind of rub it in. This is where all your good churro flavor comes from. So you don't want to be chintzy on it because this is the good stuff. And again, it's also going to hide our imperfections, so it's going to look perfect when we're done. just covering the edges a bit. I'm just going to go over the spots that I felt were a little thin. Alright, I'm going to rub her in. That'll help cover all these little edges. And again, no seams. Oh, it smells good already. Alright. All I'm doing is evening it out because I want to make sure everything is nice and even so it cooks even. And again, this is going in a 350-degree oven for a half hour or until golden brown. Alright, we'll be back to check on it in about a half hour. So it's been about a half hour and we're going to get ready to check on our Churro Cheesecake Bars. I'm excited. Ooh, that looks good. So it's got a nice brown crust on it, and you can see, use a fork, that we've fluffed up really nice here. So we're good to go. So that's just going to have to cool. We're not going to let it cool completely before we cut it because it will cut cleaner if it's a little bit warm when it gets cut. So we will be cutting it here in short order, but until then, I guess we're just going to have to wait. Alright, so we let it sit for about 15 minutes. It's now cool to the touch, as you can see here. So don't rush it. You don't want to burn yourself. We're going to just start cutting this into small squares. However you want to cut it, that's completely up to you. So you can see it cuts pretty nicely. Now you can let it cool a little more if you want, but you want a little bit of heat just to make it easier. Kind of keeps from tearing all the crescent rolls too, which is kind of nice. But it's all going to eat the same, so it's okay. And if they don't like it, then it's more for you. So we got our cuts there. Came out nice and easy, and there you go. There's the cheesecake bars. Now we're just gonna have to enjoy that. Especially when it's nice and warm. See the bottom has a little bit of color on it. That's really good. They're very rich, very cheesecakey. you might not even want to take this to the party. You might just want to keep it for yourself. So maybe make 2. But I would definitely recommend. Alright. Well, that's our churro cheesecake for today. So I would give it a thumbs up and a share if you would, please. And if you like, subscribe. And if you have any ideas or anything else you want to see, just let us know and we will just throw it onto the videos. Have a good one.